Yep. Perfect.
All right, at this time, we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is the meeting of August 24th, 2021. I'll ask Mrs. Manning, please call the roll.
Commissioner Penny?
Here.
Commissioner Curry?
Here.
Commissioner Danio?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson? Here. Mayor Villa?
Here. And at this time, I'll ask you to stand for the invocation. I asked our Vice Mayor to lead us in an invocation and continue standing afterwards for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Will you pray with me? Dear gracious God, we thank you for all the many blessings you've bestowed upon us all. We ask that you place your hand of healing on all of those that are dealing with COVID-19. We ask that you guide and direct our meeting so it's full of wisdom, productivity, and respect for one another. We ask that you keep our city teammates safe as they do their jobs. And please, God, please bless this meeting, this city, and our great country. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Vice Mayor. At this time, I'll remind everybody to please silence your cell phones or any electronic devices that you may have that may make noise. And we'll move to the first on our agenda, which is public comments. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the commission tonight about anything not on our regular agenda? Yes, sir. Mr. Legare.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Jim Legare, 342 Burley. I've mentioned a couple of times, I think, the federal money that is to go to us. I understand we have. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what, but I know that I would really like to see some more stuff that the general population can see and witness. I drive over the Seabreeze Bridge to this side of the river. It's appalling. I'm sure that most people think that we're in charge of those ponds. I would like to see perhaps something in the way of more bus benches, more trash cans. I'm constantly impressed by the Disneyland has a trash can every 30 foot. We can't seem to get any trash cans at the major bus stops. I would also like to see, I have people out now this evening that are picking up trash in the canals. It would be nice if they had some place to meet, some place that they could perhaps recruit more volunteers. I would like to see more attention paid to the general population. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Legare. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak to the commission tonight? All right, seeing none, I'll close public comments, and we'll move to the approval of minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the August 3rd, 2021 workshop and Fountainhead and August 10th, 2021 regular city commission meeting?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the commission on the minutes? Seeing none, I'll close public participation. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now moving to number 4, our consent agenda, items 1 through 9. Would any commissioner like to remove an item on the consent agenda tonight? The action proposed is stated for each item on the consent agenda. Unless a city commissioner were to remove an item from the consent agenda, no discussion on individual items will occur, and a single motion will approve all items. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on any item on the consent agenda tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public participation and entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion for approval from Vice Mayor Penny and a second from Commissioner Danio. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now moving to our regular agenda, Resolution 2021-R-58. Mr. Simpson?
Resolution number 2021-R-58 by title only for first and only reading. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Holly Hill, Volusia County, Florida, approving a local government support agreement summary of terms and authorizing the city manager to sign and deliver the letter for inclusion in the FHFC application package and providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Okay, no motion on that yet. This is the Third Street Senior Housing Complex, Florida Housing Finance Corp. project. I had asked to put this on the agenda before I had gone on vacation because it was my hope that Fountainhead would receive support from Volusia County and the city would go ahead and provide support to this project. So in talking with Stacy Bannock, what would happen is, what I didn't want to happen is the two projects to compete. Our focus is the Fountainhead project, and we want that to stay on track. So I was hoping that we can do two that wouldn't compete against each other. So what Stacy, I spoke with him as late as today, and what we'd like to do is do the same letter of support that we did for him last year, but he'll submit it as a priority 2, which means that it won't compete with Fountainhead's project and it will not be funded, but it shows consistency in the application. So I'll go ahead and hand out, this is the same letter that we did last year. If we could just motion to do this, and he'll insert this into his application, shows consistency in his application, be submitted as a priority 2. Kenny's here, he can confirm that that won't compete with the Fountainhead project. And that was our big priority. I was hoping that we can get 2 projects awarded this year, but we don't want to put the vistas at Fountainhead at risk.
Yeah, good thinking, Joe. Just give the commission a minute to just read this. So this is the same that we did last year, knowing that they wouldn't get funding.
Correct, because it'll
Okay.
be priority 2.
Yep. All right.
And you could even put that in the motion that we'll offer this letter only if it's submitted as a priority 2.
Okay.
This way they don't slip it in as a priority. But they're not, because they already have 3 other projects. You can only put 3 in.
Okay.
After you put 3 in, then they're priority 2s.
All right. Sounds good. What we'll do is we'll open this up to the public. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this item tonight? All right. Seeing none, I'll close public comment and I'll open the floor for a motion.
Motion for approval as stated by Minister Forte.
Yeah, just to make it clear, you're not approving the resolution. It's a different motion.
Right. You're approving the letter
The
to
letter.
be submitted.
Okay, the motion is to approve the letter to be submitted.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion needed? Yes, sir.
As a priority 2 project.
As a priority 2 project.
You got that, Val?
For clarity.
All right, any further discussion needed? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Now moving to number 2, Resolution 2021-R-59. Mr. Simpson. We just
No.
did 58. Well, we didn't approve.
You were just doing the letter.
Yeah, we
Yeah, I
didn't,
read
we
the
didn't,
resolution.
It took place
but
at
That
58.
resolution dies, Val?
yeah.
Oh, the resolution died.
Yeah.
So we didn't vote on that, no motion, so 2021-R-58 failed. Now Resolution 2021-R-59, Mr. Simpson.
Resolution number 2021-R-59 by title only for first and only reading. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Holly Hill, Volusia County, Florida, amending the adopted budget for the City of Holly Hill for the fiscal year 2020-2021 and providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Oh, I got it. Thank you, Mr. Simpson. Mr. Forte, do you have?
Yeah, this budget amendment is the work that's being done over at Sunrise Park was listed in a capital improvement line item, and we're moving it over to a maintenance line item. That's all that was into that one, correct? Yeah, so that's all it was. So we're moving from capital to maintenance.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Any questions for staff on this? At this time, we'll open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this item tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public participation. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion for approval from Commissioner Danio and a second from Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion needed? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now moving to Resolution 2021-R-60.
Mayor, on this resolution, I'd like to table this to the next meeting because a document that was submitted didn't have all the updated information. It's not urgent on the purchasing policy update, so I'd like to go ahead and just put this on the next agenda for September.
Okay, thank you. I saw the note after I read it, so.
Any
do you
motion to table it, or you
need a
just
motion?
pull
Are you
it?
tabling, or?
If you table it, then you're going to have to pull it off the table when it comes back, so he can just withdraw.
We'll
and
just
bring it
withdraw
back.
it. I'll put it back on the next
Okay,
agenda.
so it's been withdrawn. Now moving to number 4, request for a lien reduction, 1200 Jarecki Avenue.
Okay,
Mr. Forte?
So I have a question. I don't know if there's anybody here for this property. Okay, because what happened was, again, I was away last week, and I had set this up with the normal standard that I do this, and I asked for the staff to contact the property owner to see if they're in agreement with what I had recommended. And when I checked this afternoon, I didn't get confirmation, so I don't know if the property owner is in agreement with my recommendation. But we can certainly put it on the floor, and we could hear from the property owner when we're done, if that's what you'd like to do. So I'll
You're
go,
done with what?
when I read it to you with
Oh.
the recommendation, and if the applicant wants, the
Is
owner.
the applicant here? Oh, okay.
Okay, so the city received a request for code enforcement reduction of lien that was placed on a property at 1200 Jarecki Avenue in Holly Hill. The property is currently owned by JAK Enterprises LLC, who purchased the property from a tax deed sale on or about June 8th, 2021. Prior to the purchase, the property was vacant land that was owned by John J. Supa and Max E. Hecht, under whose ownership the code enforcement violations occurred and a lien filed. According to the order of noncompliance dated July 23rd, 2019, the property has been accumulating fines for violations of sections 114-793, paren 1, and section 14-1, section 26-61, paren 11, and the International Property Maintenance Code 302.4, and section 114-811A. The order of lien has applied the special master fee of $250 plus $50 a day per violation against the property for which 5 violations existed. The fine began accumulating on August 29th, 2019. As of the request of lien reduction, the amount of the lien owed is $170,750 plus administrative costs. The property is currently in compliance and therefore qualifies for a lien reduction. However, according to the request for a lien reduction form, if a property owner has purchased property on which a lien was recorded, a waiver or a reduction of a lien shall not be granted. In such case, the lien should have been considered in reaching a purchase price. Since the property was purchased through a tax deed, there was no negotiations with regards to a purchase price. This property is land only, there's no building or structures on the property, and it is valued, according to the tax collector, at $6,975. I reached out to the property owner, and based on the past practice of how I typically recommend reducing liens, and the fact that due diligence was not performed before purchasing the property, the least I can reduce the lien down to is $8,983. So I went through the typical formula that I do. So what we have is a piece of vacant land that had violations and liens accumulate on it under a previous owner. The current owner bought it through a tax deed for slightly less than the value of the land. But when you add the recommended lien reduction of $8,983.76, it exceeds the value of the vacant land. So that would be my typical recommendation, and don't know if the property owner, Mayor, if you'd like to hear from him.
Thank you, Mr. Forte. Before the property owner comes up, are there any questions for Joe or staff?
What side of the wreck is on east
It's on Smoky side.
and west side?
You had a question? Yes, sir.
I was just curious to see what we had in it for minimum administrative fees.
Well,
446.
$446 is what we have in staff time and fees, and then I typically take either 5 or 10%, depending upon the issues. I took 5% of the value of the loan, of the lien, which was $8,537.
All right. Any other further questions before we call the applicant? I'll open it up for questions again.
No, I'll comment after.
Okay. Would you like to come up, sir? Just state your name and you can use the address that you're speaking about.
Alton Kemp, 1200 Jarecki Avenue. The fee,
What was your name one more time?
Alton.
Alton, okay.
Alton. The fees, I have no problem with the, with how it's done. My issue is that I'm just gonna bring it straight to you and tell you, I just can't afford $8,000. But I got $2,000 that I can pay now. I can pay that. You know what I mean? But I just can't, I can't afford it, $8,000.
Vice Mayor?
What's your intent with the land? Do you plan to build a house there?
That's what I was originally thinking. When I was starting out trying to think, I said, I'm gonna build me a little 2-bedroom, 2-bath house, you know, for myself. But with the wood prices and the lumber prices and everything just kind of piled in, and then one of my jobs stopped working, so now I'm just employed with the city of Sanford. I was employed with the city of Winter Springs too, and I just don't have it right now to pay that. But I can't, that was my original intention, was to build a small house.
It seems like a win-win if we could, it doesn't make any sense to have a lien valued more than the property. It's a total loss of the car. It's not gone, you know? But it's a win-win. I don't know if there's any way to tie the lien reduction to a certificate of occupancy of a house. No? Because if he builds a house there, it's taxable. Right now, if we hold the lien, he's never going to pay it. The lien's going to stay on the land.
He's going to need a clean title, is what.
But he's already paid for the property, so it's going to sit there, and we're going to collect taxes on a vacant piece of property, and he's not going to
Have
cut the
a clean
grass because he's
title,
going to be mad at us.
Well, I have a clear to sale title on it.
Yeah.
But no one would pay the
Right.
170.
No one's going to pay him our lien plus the no one's going to pay $14,000 for this thing. So if there's some way we can reduce the lien based on the performance of something being built there, maybe I'm grasping at straws, but that seems like a fair solution.
It may take over a year or more for him to build on the property.
Right, but he can't get it, so he builds he takes the risk. The lien, we could stop the lien, it's insanity to have the lien continue to accumulate.
Well, the lien is stopped because the property's in compliance.
Right.
So the lien is not accumulating anymore. So that $170,000 is frozen. The typical reduction, I brought it down to $8,900, which is probably $2,000 or so more than the actual value of the property.
But I guess my point is, and I might be wrong in this, he owns this land free and clear except for our lien.
Correct.
Would we issue a building permit if we had a lien on a property?
I don't think a lien prevents us from issuing. a-
So what precludes him from
The threat that.
getting a contractor and building a house and moving on there and never paying us and say, I'm going to die in this house and screw your lien. I'm never going to pay it.
And that's a possibility, unless we foreclose on it. So you either collect something now while you can, or, and I don't know this gentleman, but a person could decide to build and never pay this lien, and like you say,
Right.
could live in there forever.
Right. So I'm kind of the opinion it's better to get something, but I do understand we have a standard formula. But at some point, when the lien exceeds the value of the property, You gotta
I agree.
throw that formula out and get.
Here's what you have to weigh it against. The value of the staff time in there is not significant. The value of the lien is grotesquely enlarged because of the time that has gone by due to the violations. So really what you're looking for is some level of compensation for an owner to pay because the neighbors had to deal with seeing that, not that his fault, but seeing the previous owner leaving it in an unsightly condition.
Well, I can tell you a little more about that too.
Is he deceased?
Well, the owner is, but
Yeah.
the person that trashed it
The
is,
guy next door.
he lives next door.
Right.
Yeah, that's who's, I got a videotape.
Oh, I know. I'm
And
familiar.
this dude
Wow.
stopped my people from coming after I bought it. Because the day I bought it, I went, we're going to pull this trash out of there. He stopped. Oh, no, this is my stuff. He come running from his house. He said, oh, don't. I said, well, I kind of, it's cold. I want it clean.
Yeah.
So he said, okay. He said, well, can you give me, I said, well, okay, I'll give you a week. Because, I was working 2 jobs anyway. So, okay, yeah, I'll give you a week. And I come back and it wasn't. And I still had to spend about $600 to remove some stuff that he took the trailer, some metal beams and some other, but he left all the trash, the chairs, the fence panels and all that. And I still wind up spending $600 to get that, to the dump.
Right.
So in all honesty, I hate deviating from
Yeah.
the standard, but this is one of the few lien reductions that's vacant land and there's not a structure. So
Well, and look,
I mean,
as-
the same way.
I wouldn't mind.
as a commission,
2,000.
we all know that our city, we're not growing our boundaries, so we have to grow from within. And vacant properties really don't pay taxes. So our goal is eventually for you to build a house in Holly Hill, become a Holly Hill citizen. That'd be great. And I too hate to deviate from the formula because we have to do that. But as you said, John, this is a different scenario in which I'm sorry, it's not worth that 5%. And I would much rather, I'm thankful that you brought that property into compliance now. I'm looking forward to the future building on it. And look, this man comes to us, he's already going to pay $2,000 more than he intended to pay, which should have done your due diligence. So I'm not making an excuse for that. But the man's telling us he has $2,000. We have 500 of staff, real hard dollars into it. I think that's a big enough fine as it is. It gets paid, it's done the right way.
I think we should give him double what the staff has in it and let it go at that.
That's a good idea.
Mayor, I was actually going to suggest that we do 1,000 and leave it.
$2,000 I think is excessive.
1,000 and we should leave it alone.
Let him go.
Yeah.
He's already paid $600.
Would you like a
Something
motion?
to add?
No, I agree. I mean, 1,000, 2,000, somewhere in the middle is okay with
It's a
me.
very
Yeah.
unique situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Definitely,
Would you like a motion, Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I will make a motion that we
Put
have the,
a time frame in it,
what time frame would you like?
30 days.
Is that what's in here, September 24th, 2021 by 5 PM?
Approximately, yeah.
Is that okay with you?
That's fine.
Okay.
As soon as I can get paperwork, I'll be down here to pay it.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to make a motion for $1,000,
Reduce the,
reduce the lien, reduce the lien, man, I can't talk tonight, to $1,000. It was the same way in the other room.
I'll second whatever you're trying to say.
Yeah, thank you.
so for clarity,
30 days.
30 days, that's September 24th?
Would you like me to state September
Do
24th?
a date specific.
Okay.
September 24th would be better.
September 24th.
So let me just restate the motion, correct me if I'm wrong.
2021.
We're reducing this lien on 1200 Jarecki Avenue to $1,000 payable no later than September 24th at 5 PM.
That is the motion. Since I can't
2021.
speak, the mayor had
And
to
it's
speak for
actually
me.
contingent on payment.
Excuse me?
The fine reduction is contingent on payment by that date.
You gotta-
So it's
Oh,
contingent.
add that
We're
too.
not reducing it, it's contingent as long as he pays it by that date.
Then it goes
it's
away.
reduced.
If he doesn't pay by that date, it's still 170, okay. Thank you for that clarity.
Sounds fair?
Yes, ma'am, I appreciate
year.
y'all.
What's that?
you put a year, it doesn't matter.
2021.
2021, there we go, just for the record. All right, and your second still holds, Mr.
I
Johnson?
second it.
All right. Any discussion needed? Oh, actually,
can't
thank
speak
you.
tonight, so
We need to open this up to the public, so if you could take a seat. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this item tonight? Seeing none, we will close public comment, and now we'll entertain a motion.
I thought we had discussion.
Do you have some discussion?
I'm just trying to see what the $1,000 divided up against the rest of us comes out to.
The
No,
what?
I'm good.
Uh-oh. I don't know what you were saying, but we'll move on.
He does.
Don't even ask.
I know he does.
I don't know either.
Gotta stop saying that, John.
Yeah.
All right, with that, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you, sir, and hope you build, and we're here to try to help out, so we're not here to hurt people. What's that?
I would like to buy some more land down.
Hey, there we go. Just don't buy with liens on it. Check that out first.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank
Have
you,
a
sir.
good night, sir.
it. Thank you.
All right, and now we'll move to our public hearings tonight. Number one, which is proposed First Amendment to the Fountainhead Redevelopment Incentive Agreement.
Okay,
Mr.
there
Forte.
is no agreement in the agenda item.
Oh, that's
It's
right.
because as we were working through trying to get this amendment done, a couple of other issues had come about that the city and the developer have not resolved, and I think they should be resolved before we move forward with this item. So I had originally was thinking about requesting a 30-day extension to the purchase options under the same terms and conditions that exist in the incentive agreement now. Just spoke with Jason as the meeting started, and he has some timing conflicts, and we've agreed that a 45-day extension would give us ample time to work through the issues. I'm not saying that the city is right on the issues that are at hand. I'm not saying that they're wrong at the issues that are at hand. I'm saying there's a different interpretation that needs to be figured out. Scott and I have been going through minutes of meetings and emails leading up to the changes that took place in the incentive agreement at that time. And I think we could be successful in getting some mutually agreed upon language in that 45-day time period, which would put us in time for the first meeting of October.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Forte. Any questions for staff? All right. At this time, we'll open it up to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak? Yes, sir.
Just one thing,
Yep.
maybe it's understood.
And just state your name.
Oh,
and-
sorry, Patrick Kennedy,
Thank you.
124 Central Avenue, Crescent City. I'm here on behalf of Fountainhead Developers. Just want to make sure it's clear that it's, without prejudice to the ongoing discussions on the extension. Just make that clear that this is because the deadline technically is the end of this month. So we want to make sure that we're not being, that,
I'm going to extend it for 45 days under the same terms and conditions of the current contract.
what he said, that's all we're looking for.
Just extending it. Yeah.
Extending it not past 6 months.
45 days.
45 days.
And
6
then
months,
in
we're still
45 days to work it out.
45 days, by the first meeting in October, we will hopefully come back to you with all issues resolved.
Yeah, we still like to finalize the 6 months, but this gives us more time to do it.
Got it.
So the
Yep.
biggest issue we have right now is he can't buy the other property because he don't have a CO for the first project.
That's,
the most-
that's basically that's the basis of it, is he has an option to purchase other parcels once he gets a CO for the existing parcels, and he doesn't have the CO, and his time to exercise that option expires at the end of August.
So if he gets a CO, I wasn't here on the original deal, so I kind of got it on the back end. So if he gets.
Can you speak into the microphone, Mr. Johnson? Thank you.
If he gets the CO for this first project, then he is allowed to buy the other parcels at the
If he
price
does it
that's
within
done.
the time frame that's in the contract.
Okay, so that clears it up in a simple form, right?
You think so?
All right. Yes, sir.
Does the closing on the property, so we're extending this for 45 days, so I'm clear. Does the closing have to happen within 45 days to honor the same thing, or does his intent to exercise his option have to?
I think there's language that say you exercise the option, and then by the time the closing comes, I don't think it's contingent on the closing. I think it's the time that you enter into the option to purchase, and then there may be due diligence period or closing time period in there. There's language in there that talks about the closing.
And how close are we to getting that CO?
They believe they can get it within, by February.
Yeah, you-
Okay, so
Come back if you
the
have-
CO's not going to happen in the next
Answer.
45 days, realistically, right?
No.
I don't think it's realistic. We may be that close.
Okay, so we're just kicking the can down to figure some things out for the next 45 days.
45 days is to get our ducks in a row.
Right, I get it now, okay.
We're still seeking the 6-month extension that was discussed
Gotcha.
at the workshop.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Kind of no problem.
And since you are the applicant, I mean, are there any questions for the applicant?
No, I just want to state
Okay.
for the record that I'm okay with the 45-day extension. I have no intentions of going beyond that.
And the ultimate extension they're shooting for will still be February. We're not going to move that.
Right.
It's not 6 months and 45 days.
You're right.
No.
Yeah, this isn't,
Right.
we're still looking February, end of February, what we discussed at the workshop. This is just hashing out a couple of contract interpretation issues.
Great. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak on this item to the commission tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public participation. Joe, do you need a motion to,
Oh, yeah, you definitely need a motion.
for a 45-day, let's state it for the record, please.
A motion to extend the purchase option for 45 days under the same terms and conditions contained in the incentive agreement with the,
You should extend it to the day of the first meeting.
well, that's what I said, I was going to say, with the item coming back to the commission for the October, what's the date of that October meeting?
12th, I think. Yeah, you should extend it to October
That'd be the
12th.
12th, yeah.
Well,
Because if it expires on the 11th, it's before the 12th. 45 days is the 11th, so it's
Yeah.
really 46 days. So why don't we just have it expire
have it expire on the 13th, it's the day
13th.
after.
the 13th?
Yeah.
October 13th, yeah.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Penny and a second from Commissioner Curry. Any discussion needed? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. All right. Now we're moving on to communications.
Triskaidekaphobic. Triskaidekaphobic.
All right. You guys, I know you probably don't want to, if you do, you can stay, but
They
if you
have to
want.
stay. I got one more thing.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
All right, well then take it away, Joe.
Listen, when it comes to this project, there's always one more thing.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Take it away.
as you know, through accumulated efforts, the Fountainhead Vistas, the Vistas at Fountainhead were successful in getting the county's $462,000 local match for their project, which is wonderful. It's what we've all been hoping for, and there's still one more step to go. We still have to get Florida Housing Finance Corp. to approve it. In doing that, and hopefully they will, we have language in an agreement that says that the closing shall not extend past February 1, 2022, and we need to change that to say February 28, 2022. So I passed out a document to you that in essence changes that, the closing, not the closing date, the finding. So they still have their due diligence period, which is 90 days following that date. I passed it around, did it not get all the way around?
No.
Where did that go?
Stopped.
Looks like this. Oh, stop that, Roy.
I didn't see you put it down. Don't see you did on my left eye.
So we spoke with Scott, we don't see any problem in doing this, extending it to February 28th, 2022, which will give them that additional time period that they need to get through the due diligence, which gets through that whole Florida Housing Finance Corp. time period.
Yes, Vice Mayor.
So, I meant to ask this question earlier, but I didn't because I didn't want to sound stupid. But you just mentioned the county money of $462,000.
I believe it was 460. 460. And even 460? Okay. 460.
Okay, because that's the same contract that we had for Madison Bay, and I just want to make sure it was.
Yeah, for some reason I thought there was a 2 in there.
All right,
So, okay.
all right, thank you.
So the only thing that changed in the document you're reading, because we had already approved a similar document, is changing it from February 1 to February 28th. That's the only change that you'll see in here.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right, so you need a motion for that?
Yes.
Okay.
So moved.
We have a motion for approval of this letter. We have a second for Commissioner Johnson. I will open up to the public. Anybody from the public like to speak to the commission about this tonight? Yes, sir.
Ken Boron, Beneficial Communities. Just here to answer any questions, if there's any questions about why we had to change the date, so.
Can you answer that very quickly?
Yeah, so I was telling Joe, there's two different worlds. Sometimes there's the real world, and then there's the FHFC world. And in FHFC, they have a specific date your contract has to be good till, and that date is February 28th, 2022. How the language goes in the contract, it says February 1st, 2022, and then it can terminate. So we just need it to go to that 28th date, so it's not terminated. So when our competition reads through our application, we don't get kicked out on technicality.
Great. So just a technicality. Thank you, sir. Any further questions? All right. Thank you. Would anybody else from the audience like to speak tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public participation. Any discussion needed? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Mr. Forte. You have more communications for us?
Yeah, just as I mentioned in the work session, in the shade meeting, the passing of Eddie Colosimo. He may or may not have been a friend to the city at different points in his life here, but he was certainly one that many people knew. Make you aware of that. And just thanks for the prayers for my son. He's doing well.
Good.
It's
Good
good.
to hear. Thank you, Mr. Forte. Mr. Simpson?
No comment.
No comments. All right. Yeah, Joe, we definitely extend our prayers to your son and your whole family, and hope
Scary
he
time.
continues, to get better. I do want to say, in your absence, Mr. Walker did a fine job and kept us very informed as a commission and did a good job, so I wanted to publicly commend him.
Good.
And so the city was in good hands, but I know you got a lot of work to catch up on. I've seen some of the emails. So, and yeah, I too heard about the passing of Crazy Eddie, is what they called him. Probably most of you knew who he was. If you didn't know him, then you probably knew of him, because he was in some ways infamous. And yeah, he had his spats here with the city. He had his spats with my father, and also good times with my father. And at one point he was my opponent and someone else's opponent up here as well. But I will say about the man, a lot of people are either lovers or fighters, usually, and he was both of them, because if you were his enemy, man, he could put up a fight. But if you were his friend, he loved you so much, and I don't think there was many times in the last couple of years where I talked to him and he didn't tell me that he loved me when he was getting off the phone. And he always fought really hard for veterans issues. He owned or started the BFFAR, the Bikers for First Amendment. It changed to Americans for First Amendment rights here in Holly Hill, and was always on the front lines for veterans issues. And he was actually the inspiration going back during COVID to ask the governor to actually reopen the veterans organizations. And when I came to you, asked if I could pin that letter to the governor, and because he suffered from PTSD. A lot of people didn't know that. And during COVID, he was away from what he called his family that was at the VFWs and the things that he would go to, and just got really, really down. And I remember that conversation like it was yesterday, and it was really tough to hear, and I knew that we had to do something, and we had to bring this up to the governor. So he's going to be well missed, and just wanted to say that, though. I thought it was appropriate to say tonight. So on that note, also, it's my daughter's birthday today.
Ah.
Yeah, so I know we got to continue this shade meeting. Are we? No, we're finished with the shade meeting. So
Say how old she is.
She's 10. I can't believe she's 10. Yeah, growing up too fast. Growing up way too fast. So, but anyways, that's all I have tonight. So we'll start over here, Vice Mayor.
Good to see our, speaking of veterans, Veteran Memorial work has begun on the front lawn. I
Yeah.
didn't notice it when you pulled up, so
I'll take up one.
exciting things coming forward.
Thank you.
And want to thank everyone for their thoughts and prayers. My grandmother passed away Monday at 99 years old. She had an amazing life.
That's awesome.
And so just thanks for all the email messages and stuff that everyone sent my way, so thank you.
Commissioner?
And again, I'm truly sorry. I know I said something to you yesterday, but that's a tough thing to go through, John. I did want to mention, though, Mr. Legary, maybe we can, along the lines of what he was talking for the, I assume you're talking about the Eco Friends group that's doing the cleanup? Why couldn't we try
I had
to,
stepped out, I don't know what he had said.
he was talking about, with the pond cleanup, and I guess they were out tonight doing some cleanups, and he said, you know, maybe we can provide a meeting place for them and, some way for them to recruit. My thought is, I keep forgetting you're sitting over here. Could we possibly allow them to kind of come in on our neighborhood watch meetings to have a little table and hand out some information? Could we help them in that way?
She's Mallory.
She's there every
Ariel's
time.
been.
Is she? Okay.
Yeah, she's invited to that, and she.
Yeah, I don't go because I don't want any conflict, so,
Yeah, I don't know what the issue is, what the question was.
about them being able to recruit and maybe have a place to meet and organize and,
Well, you got to remember, they could meet in any one of our facilities, but they just have to pay the fee like
Right.
everybody else does. And I had suggested to them two options. One is to use the clubhouse because it would be significantly less expensive than using Sika Hall. And the other is because where the Water Goat is located, it's outdoors, they can have an outdoor meeting.
right.
It was just an option that a couple of the folks
Okay.
that were there that day.
I was just thinking she could set up a small table to
Sure.
try to recruit members at our neighborhood watch meeting, because obviously, those are people that care about our community that attend there and want to be informed and involved and all that, so that'd be a perfect place.
Yeah, she's-
Kind of like where we used to recruit explorers was out at the high school. I mean, you have to go to, you know.
Yeah, she's been a guest speaker at the Neighborhood Watch.
Yeah, but maybe you could approach her when she comes to see about setting up a table with information. I don't mean just her attending.
No,
We could allow her to set up a table with whatever information, application, whatever she has.
We'll do the best we can to help her out.
It was just a thought. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Daniel?
Talking about the Veterans Memorial, I just wanted to touch on that, if you don't mind. They took away the kid's project, the Eagles project that he did 10 years ago, and we knew it was coming. We talked about relocating it. The city manager doesn't really have an appropriate place for it. I talked to my son about it. You broke his heart, but no, you didn't really. But he would really like to have the pavers as kind of more of a sentimental memorial, not memorial, that's a bad choice of words, kind of a keepsake. And I didn't know how your feelings were on that. You know, either he buys them or he gets them. He's got one that's getting graded. There was a couple sections or something that he put down, and
There were, and this is my guess, there's probably 100 bricks
100 pavers.
that new would be about $1.30 each.
10 years old would be free.
10 years old with some depreciation value. They're sitting in the yard, and they'll probably sit in the yard next to the ones that we dug up from the old chamber with.
What about the ones that have names
I think the
on
ones that have names on them, we should offer to the families.
them? That was my thought.
That's
Give
what I
give 'em
said
back
to
the
Joe.
families.
Yeah, give him to the family. He just wants the one with his name and some extras or
Give the kid
something.
his and give the other ones to their families.
I mean, if that's okay with you guys.
That sounds
He's
great
coming
to
to
me.
town with his truck next weekend, and he would like to take them or buy them if it comes down to it, so.
No, it's not worth selling, and it's a
It's-
project
It's
that,
$100 worth of stuff if it were new.
I'll get Elton to pay for it.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, ma'am.
no, he won't.
gone.
John, stop it.
He was anxious to.
Yes, ma'am?
Actually, it's Jeanette Durr from the Fountainhead. Commissioner Danio,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
was just talking to Jason, and if there's a place for those, that, certainly want to give the ones with names to the families, but we'd love to talk to your son about putting them in the plaza at the Fountainhead, and then you'd always know where they were.
Okay.
There you
I'll
go.
think about
well-
that too, yeah, all right, thank you.
All right.
I appreciate it, yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like an idea. At
All
least
right.
That's all-
worth
that's all.
exploring.
Without any objection,
Very nice of you, by the way.
I don't think we
Jason.
we don't need a motion to allow that, right? Just
what are we doing?
objection, just
we're gonna let
allowing
Daniel steal
him,
them?
yeah, his son.
He was gonna steal
What's
them.
that?
We're going to let Danio steal them?
Yeah.
Not steal them, Joe. This is.
That's not the
I'll tell you what,
return.
I'm playing his.
I'll tell you what.
What are we
he'll keep
running
them
here
in his
tonight?
yard.
So we're gonna surplus them and donate them to the Danio family.
He'll-
Yes, sir.
He'll just watch them for you instead of having your employees watch him at the yard.
Okay, we'll take care of it.
All right.
We'll allow them to go elsewhere.
Other than
So,
that, yeah.
no motion, right? Just no objection?
Thank you.
All right, none.
Other than that, yeah, I feel like this thing is going crazy with this COVID thing. I mean, I'm hoping that everybody's being responsible out there and just, hope and pray that we get a handle on this. It's really getting out of control. But other than that, thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Johnson?
I don't have much, but I just thank everybody that helped me at the city, especially Brian with my project on Nova Road. And it's going forward full throttle. We got the place completely cleaned up, so you can tell code enforcement there's nothing to see here anymore.
It does look good.
It looks real good. I drove past it
looks Very
today.
good.
But the kids have practiced in the night up at that little Fly the W up there on Hollow Road. And that is a complicated thing for so many different teams. It's only one stall down through there. So they have to kind of take turns every half hour, 45 minutes or something. But it's going to be so good for the kids when they get it done. That gigantic place where they can play baseball inside of the building and they get away from the elements and the problem. And it's going to be completely air conditioned for them too.
What about have some of us big kids? We get to play too, or what?
Yeah, the kid, they can.
Don't have to run.
I'm talking about the big kids, us.
Sit there and do this.
Yeah, right?
Don't have to sweat, don't have to run.
Well, the first and the third of the month, we're starting all the project inside that we don't require a building permit for. So we're gonna start on, it's gonna be expensive, but we're gonna start on like 75 grand for air conditioning, 40 grand to insulate the wall.
You need a permit for that.
Huh?
You need a permit for that.
No, we won't do the air conditioning, but we can
Okay.
put in this, we can put in the insulation and the ductwork and all.
Just keep it on the down low about no permit.
Without a building permit, we're gonna do what we can, and then when Brian comes through with his site plan altogether, then we'll get the building permits, and it's gonna be a good thing for the kids. We're gonna really get it started, we're not gonna drag our feet on it. I'm hoping to have that up and running by the first of next year.
Sorry, I didn't catch everything, but I think I got the gist.
But don't ask him again.
All right,
You don't want
Don't
to.
ask him again.
So when your kid gets old enough, then we'll start a little bit.
there we go. All right, anything further, Commissioner Johnson?
I don't think so.
All right. Is there any further business before us? I would just like to say congratulations on getting the county funding. I know you're up against some great projects out there, so it was good that, and by the way, if anybody listening, you scored by far the highest out of the county, so that was, or the lowest, I should say, because the lowest is the best, yeah.
I think we need to publicly thank Heather Post, our county council person, that she lobbied hard for that for them, so.
They weren't gonna allow, they had no plan to have the developers make a presentation. And she lobbied for that, and that started it, and then I said, well, I know, Jason, we can do public comments, and so he signed up for that, nobody else did. So it was great, and thanks for getting the letter of support. It was a team effort, and that's what Kenny said, it's a partnership.
There we go. All right. With that, there's no further business before us, and this meeting is adjourned.